Captain Adam Reynolds stood before the entire base assembly at Fort Liberty, North Carolina, his heart pounding like artillery fire. "I am gay, and this is Ian, the love of my life," he declared into the microphone. His voice steady even as the room erupted in stunned silence. Cameras flashed from the handful of invited press, and in that single heartbeat Adam knew the carefully constructed walls he had built over 15 years of service were crumbling. Ian stood just off to the side, tall and composed in a navy button-down. His green eyes locked on Adam with unwavering pride, but the ripple of shock spreading through the ranks of uniformed men and women told Adam this was only the beginning. Back in his quarters that evening, Adam paced while Ian sat on the edge of the bed, fingers laced together. "You didn't have to do it like that," Ian said softly, though his tone carried no blame. Adam stopped, running a hand through his short brown hair. "I did. After that last deployment in Afghanistan, patching up kids who'll never see 25, I realized life is too short for secrets. I'm 36, Ian. I want to come home to you without pretending you're just a roommate." Ian rose and pulled him into a quiet embrace, the kind that had carried them through 5 secret years. But outside, the base was already buzzing. Colonel Marcus Hale, Adam's commanding officer, summoned him at 0600 the next morning. The older man's face was carved from granite. "Captain, you just painted a target on your back and mine. Regulations may have changed, but this unit still runs on trust. The men need to know their surgeon has their 6, not that he's distracted." Adam stood at attention, jaw tight. "Sir, my record speaks for itself. Over 200 successful field surgeries, 3 commendations for valor. My personal life doesn't change that." Hale leaned forward. "Maybe not in Washington, but here it does. I'm giving you 24 hours to issue a retraction. Call it a misunderstanding. Otherwise, the paperwork for administrative separation starts Monday." The words landed like shrapnel. That night Adam drove Ian to a quiet diner off base, the kind with cracked vinyl booths and endless coffee. Ian traced the rim of his mug. "I never asked you to choose me over the army." Adam reached across the table, their fingers brushing out of sight. "You didn't have to. I'm choosing us." Yet doubt gnawed at him. His parents in Ohio still sent care packages addressed to Captain Reynolds alone, never mentioning the friend who sometimes answered the phone. His younger sister had once joked that the army was his real wife. Now the truth would reach them through headlines. By sunrise, social media had exploded. A blurry photo of Ian's supportive stance beside the podium was everywhere. "Military doctor comes out live," trended with hashtags Adam refused to read. Fellow surgeons at the hospital wing offered tight-lipped nods, but the infantry guys who had carried wounded soldiers into his or now avoided eye contact in the mess hall. Adam focused on his work, scrubbing in for a routine appendectomy, hands rock-steady despite the storm. Ian texted encouragement between classes at the local community college where he taught history. "Proud of you, always." The first real fracture came from Sergeant Lopez, Adam's longtime scrub tech. They had shared foxholes and bad coffee in 3 deployments. In the locker room, Lopez slammed his locker shut. "Doc, I got your back in the field, but my wife's asking if I should transfer. People are talking." Adam swallowed the hurt. "Talking about what exactly?" "That I saved your leg in Kandahar." Lopez looked away. "It's not the same for everyone." The words echoed long after he left. Adam returned to quarters to find Ian cooking pasta, trying to keep things normal. They ate in silence until Adam finally spoke. "I think Hale is serious about the separation." Ian set his fork down. "Then we fight it, or we walk away together. You've given enough." Adam stared at the man who had waited through every midnight call, every classified mission, never once demanding more than Adam could give. For the first time, the possibility of civilian life felt less like defeat and more like freedom. Yet the thought of leaving the only identity he had known since West Point tightened his chest. As the 24-hour deadline loomed, Adam sat at his desk drafting a statement he wasn't sure he could send. Outside, rain lashed the windows, mirroring the turmoil inside. Ian's hand on his shoulder was the only anchor. "Whatever you decide, I'm here." Adam closed his eyes, remembering the night they met at a quiet bar in Fayetteville when Adam was still a resident. Ian had smiled across the room and everything had clicked into place. That memory gave him courage. He deleted the retraction draft. The decision was made. Colonel Hale's face remained impassive when Adam delivered the news the next morning. So that's how it is. He slid a thick folder across the desk. Administrative separation proceedings begin immediately. You'll be relieved of surgical duties pending review. Pack your things, Captain. The finality in those words hollowed Adam out. He had expected anger, maybe even disgust, but the cold bureaucracy stung deeper. Back in the wing, nurses whispered as he cleared his locker. One young medic who had assisted him on dozens of cases offered a quick, awkward hug. You did good work, sir. Don't let them forget that. Ian waited in the parking lot, engine running. They drove in silence until Adam finally spoke. I'm out. Just like that. Ian squeezed his knee. Then we start over. I already called the apartment complex near campus. They have a 2-bedroom opening. Adam stared at the passing pine trees, the base shrinking in the rearview mirror. 15 years of service reduced to a folder and a handshake. The media storm hit harder than expected. Local news vans camped outside their new apartment. Dr. Reynolds, any comment on the Army's decision? Adam kept his head down, Ian shielding him with an umbrella. Inside, they unpacked boxes in the small living room, trying to build something normal. Ian's books lined the shelves beside Adam's medical journals. For a week they cooked together, watched old movies, and pretended the world outside didn't exist. But Adam's phone kept buzzing with messages from old colleagues. Some offered support. Others simply stopped replying. His mother called from Ohio on the 3rd evening. Adam, your father saw the news. He hasn't said a word since. Her voice cracked. We love you, but it's a lot. Adam gripped the phone until his knuckles whitened. Mom, I'm still the same person who flew home every Christmas. She sighed. I know, honey. Just give him time. The call ended with an emptiness Adam hadn't felt since his first deployment. Ian wrapped arms around him from behind. Families adjust. We will too. At the community college where Ian taught, colleagues were kinder. The history department threw an impromptu potluck. We stand with you both, the dean said, raising a plastic cup. Adam smiled for the first time in days, yet the absence of his uniform left him unmoored. He spent mornings applying for civilian surgical positions, only to watch doors close once background checks revealed the separation. Policy concerns. One HR rep explained politely. Discrimination wrapped in corporate language. One afternoon Adam drove back to Fort Liberty alone. He sat in the visitor parking lot staring at the gates he could no longer pass. Memories flooded. The night he had operated for 18 straight hours after an IED attack, saving 3 soldiers who now wouldn't return his calls. Sergeant Lopez appeared at the fence line, hesitated, then walked over. Doc, I was wrong. The guys, we miss you in the OR. Adam nodded, throat tight. Tell them I miss it too. The small olive branch eased something inside him. That evening Ian suggested they visit the coast for the weekend. They rented a small cabin on the Outer Banks, waves crashing just beyond the deck. Under a blanket of stars Ian turned to him. You sacrificed everything for us. I need you to know it wasn't in vain. Adam pulled him close, the salt air mixing with the warmth of Ian's skin. For the first time since the announcement, the future felt possible instead of terrifying. Yet the legal battle loomed. Lawyers from a veterans advocacy group had reached out, offering to fight the separation on grounds of discrimination. Adam wasn't sure he had the fight left. Back in the apartment the next week, a thick envelope arrived from the Army. Preliminary hearing date set for next month. Adam stared at the letter until the words blurred. Ian sat beside him. Whatever happens, we face it together. Adam leaned into the solid presence that had become his entire world. The man who had never asked him to choose until Adam chose for both of them. Meanwhile, public opinion split down the middle. Supportive posts from LGBTQ veterans flooded social media. Conservative commentators called for stricter standards. Adam avoided it all, focusing instead on volunteering at a free clinic downtown. The work felt familiar, hands steady again as he stitched a teenager's laceration. The clinic director, a no-nonsense woman named Dr. Patel, pulled him aside afterward. "We could use a full-time surgeon. Pays not military, but the mission is honest." Adam smiled for the first time in weeks. A seed of something new took root. Yet doubt lingered. Late at night he would wake, chest tight, replaying the podium moment. Had he thrown away everything for love? Ian sensed the unrest and one morning left a note on the kitchen table. "You are still a hero, just wearing different armor now." Adam folded the paper into his wallet and carried it like a talisman. The hearing approached like a gathering storm. Adam prepared his statement, Ian rehearsing with him late into the night. "I served with honor," Adam practiced. "My sexuality never compromised that honor." Ian nodded. "And it never will." Their voices filled the small apartment, two men building a future from the wreckage of the past. The hearing room at the Pentagon Annex smelled of polished wood and old coffee. Adam sat in dress uniform one final time, Ian in the front row wearing the same Navy shirt from the announcement day. Colonel Hale testified first, voice clipped. "Captain Reynolds is an exceptional surgeon. His decision, however, has created division within the unit." Adam listened, jaw set. When his turn came he spoke calmly, recounting every deployment, every life saved, every night he had stitched wounds under mortar fire. "I never hid my competence. I only hid my heart." The panel of 3 officers asked pointed questions. One colonel leaned forward. "Do you believe your relationship affects unit cohesion?" Adam met his eyes. "Sir, the only thing affecting cohesion was the fear of discovery. Now they know. The rest is up to them." Ian's steady gaze from the audience kept him grounded. Outside afterward, rain slicked the sidewalks. A reporter shoved a microphone forward. "Captain, any regrets?" Adam paused. "Only that I waited so long." Ian slipped an arm around his waist right there on the steps, cameras flashing. The image would dominate evening news. Back home they collapsed onto the couch. Adam's phone lit up with messages. His sister texted, "Proud of you, big brother." Dad watched the hearing. He cried. Small victories. Ian ordered Thai food and they ate cross-legged on the floor like college kids. For a few hours the weight lifted. The clinic offered Adam the full-time position the next day. Dr. Patel handed him the contract with a grin. "Welcome aboard, hero." Adam signed, feeling the first real shift toward a new identity. Ian celebrated by booking tickets to see his family in California over Thanksgiving. "They already love you from the news," he joked. Adam laughed, the sound rusty but genuine. Yet the army wasn't finished. A formal discharge letter arrived 2 weeks later, citing conduct inconsistent with service standards. Adam read it once, folded it and placed it in a drawer. "It's done," he told Ian. "Time to build something ours." They spent the weekend painting the spare room, turning it into a home office for Adam's new consulting work with veterans' health programs. One evening Sergeant Lopez showed up at their door unannounced, holding a 6-pack. "The guys took up a collection. Bought you a new stethoscope. Figured the clinic could use it." Adam accepted the gift, throat tight. Lopez nodded toward Ian. "He seems solid. Take care of each other." The visit lasted 20 minutes, but it mended something Adam hadn't realized was still broken. Thanksgiving in California brought warm sun and Ian's boisterous family. His mother hugged Adam fiercely. "We saw the hearing. You're family now." His father clapped him on the back. "Takes guts, son." For the first time Adam felt the word son without qualifiers. Ian watched from across the table, eyes shining. Back in North Carolina, Adam threw himself into clinic work. A young soldier walked in one afternoon, fresh from basic training, wrist fractured. Adam recognized the fear in his eyes. "First time away from home?" The kid nodded. Adam set the bone gently. "You're going to be okay. We all find our way." The words were as much for himself as the patient. Christmas approached. Adam and Ian decorated a small tree, hanging ornaments from both their pasts. Adam's West Point patch dangled beside Ian's childhood snow globe. On Christmas Eve they exchanged gifts. Ian handed Adam a framed photo from their first weekend together years ago. "So you remember why it was worth it?" Adam gave Ian a set of antique history books. "For the man who taught me courage comes in many forms." They fell asleep on the couch, lights twinkling, the world outside quiet for once. Yet the story wasn't over. A national veterans organization invited Adam to speak at their annual gala in Washington. Ian encouraged him. "Your voice matters." Adam agreed, nerves humming. The night before the flight, he stood on their tiny balcony. Ian joined him. "Whatever happens tomorrow, we've already won." Adam kissed him softly under the winter stars, the kind of kiss that promised forever without needing words. The gala ballroom glittered with uniforms and evening gowns. Adam stepped to the podium, Ian in the front row again. "I lost my commission but found my truth," he began. The audience listened, some nodding, others wiping eyes. When he finished, applause thundered. A retired general approached afterward. "Son, the army lost a good man, but the country gained an even better one." Adam shook his hand, feeling the circle close. Flying home, Ian rested his head on Adam's shoulder. "Proud of you every single day." Adam squeezed his hand. The plane banked over the lights of Raleigh, carrying them toward a future neither had dared imagine a year ago. Spring arrived with dogwoods blooming along the greenways. Adam's days at the clinic settled into a rhythm he had never known in the military. Predictable hours, no deployments, patients who returned for follow-ups instead of medevac. He began mentoring pre-med students from the local university, sharing stories that blended medicine and life lessons. One young woman asked him bluntly, "Was it worth it?" Adam smiled. "Every scar, every headline, every lost rank. Because I get to be whole now." Ian's history classes filled with students who recognized him from the news. They asked respectful questions about civil rights and courage. After one lecture, a quiet sophomore lingered. "My brother's in the Marines. He's scared to come out." Ian gave him the Advocacy group's card. "Tell him there are people fighting for him." That night, he recounted the conversation to Adam over dinner. "We're helping more than just ourselves." Adam reached across the table. "That's the point." Their relationship deepened in the ordinary moments. Grocery runs, Sunday hikes, lazy mornings with coffee and newspapers. Adam no longer glanced over his shoulder in public. Holding Ian's hand at the farmer's market felt natural, revolutionary only in its simplicity. Yet occasional stares still came. One afternoon at the hardware store, an older man muttered under his breath. Ian simply smiled wider and kissed Adam's cheek right there in the aisle. The man looked away. Small battles, daily victories. Adam's parents flew down for a visit in April. His father, retired factory worker, stood awkwardly in their living room at first. Then he noticed the framed discharge letter on the wall. "You kept it." Adam nodded. "Reminder of what I was willing to lose." His father's eyes softened. "I was wrong to stay silent. You're still my son." The words unlocked something Adam hadn't known was locked. They spent the weekend fishing on a quiet lake, talking about everything and nothing. His mother baked Ian's favorite pie. Normalcy, hard won. At the clinic, a crisis arrived. A car accident brought in 3 teenagers, one critical. Adam worked for 6 hours straight, the old surgical instincts sharp as ever. When the last suture was tied, Dr. Patel clapped his shoulder. "You still got it, Reynolds." The patient's mother hugged him in the waiting room, tears streaming. "You saved my boy." Adam drove home exhausted but fulfilled. Ian had kept dinner warm. Hero hours again? Adam laughed. Different battlefield. Summer brought new challenges. The Advocacy group asked Adam to testify before a congressional committee on military policy. Ian flew with him to D.C. In the hearing room, Adam spoke of the cost of silence, of lives lost to fear rather than bullets. Ian waited outside, pacing until Adam emerged victorious. That night in their hotel, they ordered room service and danced slowly to music from Ian's phone. "You changed the world today," Ian whispered. Adam held him tighter. We changed it. Back home, they adopted a rescue dog, a scruffy mutt named Scout who immediately claimed the couch. Walks in the park became family time. Neighbors waved. The apartment complex hosted a block party where Adam grilled burgers and Ian told history jokes. Laughter echoed late into the night. For the first time, Adam felt rooted, not stationed. Yet old ghosts surfaced. A former platoon mate reached out via email. "Doc, I'm getting out too. Your courage gave me mine." Adam replied instantly, offering coffee the next time the soldier passed through town. Small ripples spreading outward. One humid August evening, Ian came home early, face pale. "The college board wants to feature us in their diversity campaign." Adam raised an eyebrow. "You okay with that?" Ian nodded. "Only if you are. No more hiding." They agreed. The photo shoot happened on campus under blooming crepe myrtles. Adam in a crisp shirt, Ian beside him, Scout at their feet. The image ran in the alumni magazine with the caption, "Love in Action." Adam pinned the page to their fridge. Fall arrived with football games and cooler nights. Adam and Ian hosted their first Thanksgiving in the new apartment, inviting clinic staff, Ian's colleagues, and Sergeant Lopez with his wife. The table overflowed with food and stories. Laughter bounced off the walls. Adam looked around and realized this was the family he had chosen and the one that had chosen him back. Late that night, after guests left, Adam and Ian stood on the balcony again. Scout slept at their feet. "Remember the podium?" Adam asked. Ian smiled. "Best decision you ever made." Adam pulled him close. "Second best. First was falling in love with you." The city lights twinkled below, a promise of more seasons, more growth, more life lived honestly. Winter returned, bringing the one-year anniversary of the announcement. Adam and Ian marked it quietly with a candlelit dinner and a toast to survival. "To choosing us," Ian said, clinking glasses. Adam added, "To the man who waited." The year had reshaped them both. Adam's shoulders carried less tension. Ian's laughter came easier. The clinic expanded, offering Adam a chance to lead a new veterans' mental health program. He accepted, blending surgery with counseling sessions where former soldiers talked about identity and purpose. One veteran, a quiet Marine, shared his own coming-out story. Adam listened, then shared his. The room felt lighter afterward. Ian published his first academic paper on military history and civil rights, dedicating it to "The surgeon who taught me courage is quiet too." Adam framed the acceptance letter. Their lives intertwined more deeply with each passing month. A surprise invitation arrived in February. West Point wanted Adam to speak at graduation. He stared at the letter for a long time. Ian encouraged him. "You owe it to the cadets who are still hiding." Adam agreed. On a crisp spring day, he stood on the same parade field where he had once marched. Cadets in dress gray listened intently as he spoke of service, sacrifice, and the courage to be authentic. "The uniform doesn't define your heart. You do." Thunderous applause followed. Ian waited at the edge of the field, pride radiating. Afterward, they walked the campus hand in hand. Adam pointed out old buildings, shared stories. "I never thought I'd come back like this." Ian squeezed his hand. "You came back better." Summer brought travel. They flew to Hawaii for 2 weeks, renting a small house on the North Shore. Days blurred into snorkeling, sunset walks, and long conversations about the future. One evening on the beach, Ian turned serious. "I want to marry you, Adam. Not because of the fight, but because of us." Adam's answer was immediate, the kiss tasting of salt and certainty. They planned a small ceremony for fall. Back home, preparations began. Sergeant Lopez offered to be best man. Adam's parents flew in early to help. The backyard of their new house, purchased with Adam's clinic salary and Ian's teaching tenure, filled with string lights and folding chairs. On a golden October afternoon, surrounded by 30 close friends and family, Adam and Ian exchanged vows under an oak tree. "I promise to choose you every day," Adam said. Ian replied, "And I promise to stand beside you, no matter the battlefield." Scout carried the rings on a pillow, drawing laughs. The reception lasted late. Dancing, toasts, and stories flowed. Adam's father pulled him aside. "I'm sorry it took me so long." Adam hugged him. "We're here now." Ian's mother danced with Adam's mother. Two worlds fully merged. Winter holidays passed in a glow of new traditions. They hosted again, the house warm and full. Adam looked at the ring on his finger and felt complete. The military chapter was closed, but the man he had become stood taller for it. Spring brought new life in unexpected ways. The clinic received a grant to expand services statewide. Adam's program became a model others studied. Ian received tenure. They celebrated with a quiet weekend in the mountains, planning a second honeymoon in Italy. Life continued its steady rhythm. Challenges still appeared. A difficult patient, a family disagreement, the occasional headline dredging up the past. But Adam and Ian faced them together, stronger for every storm weathered. Years later, on the 5th anniversary of the announcement, Adam and Ian stood on the same balcony where so many decisions had been made. Scout, now gray-muzzled, slept nearby. Adam's hair showed silver at the temples, but his eyes remained bright. Ian's laugh lines had deepened with joy. The clinic thrived. Adam had published a book on battlefield medicine and emotional resilience, dedicating it to Ian. Ian's second book on queer military history sat beside it on bookstore shelves. Their story had become a quiet beacon for others. They still received letters from young service members. Adam answered each one personally. "You are not alone. Choose truth when you're ready." Ian helped craft the replies. Together they mentored, advocated, and lived. On that anniversary evening, Adam turned to Ian. "If I had to do it again, I would. Every single time." Ian smiled, pulling him close. "And I would wait again, because this life we built is worth everything." The city lights stretched below, steady and bright. Adam thought of the frightened captain on that podium years ago and felt only gratitude. The journey had stripped him of rank, but given him freedom, love, and purpose deeper than any uniform could provide. True or false? True love always requires sacrificing your career and social status?